So do I still need to use the margin?
Yeah,
Or
someone asked that question yesterday. Someone asked the question yesterday, and I said, regardless of whatever you use for your research, there are different types of research, and that's like the first thing I want to cover this morning. There are different types of research. Interview is one of the is a research, whether you do it online or you do it offline, face to face, whatever. Survey is one of it. So those people that say they are using Google Form, you are only doing surveys. Then what's it called? We have so many type of research, like many. Observational research is a type of research where you just observe someone doing something. Maybe if you went to say an actual restaurant and you observe the process, maybe taking some pictures, then making your notes, that's a type of research. So there are also research, regardless of how you do it. After you finish your research, you're supposed to still do research analysis. So whether you used now Google's way of doing what's it called and bringing out insights, it's different from the kind of analysis you need to be doing. It's very different. What you need, once I start the class, you guys will get the point of what I'm trying to say. So let me just take other questions, then we'll circle back to that.
Hello,
thank
good
you.
morning, ma.
Okay, good morning, man.
Hi,
Good
Austin.
morning, ma. Yeah, good morning, ma. It's Augustine.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, though I've asked this question before, I wanted to just confirm. Apart from Figma, is there no offline platform? Because yesterday I think I exhausted my data on Figma, seriously. So it's actually a
Okay.
challenge. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so there are offline platforms. Adobe XD is an offline platform. What's it called? Even Figma is offline as well. So you can download the Figma desktop app. That's something I think should have been mentioned to you earlier. So you can download the app on your system and use it offline. Whenever you go online back, it will sync it with your online version. So you don't have to be completely online every time when you're working on Figma.
Okay,
So
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
yeah. All right. Okay, next person.
Good morning, man.
Hi, Jeremiah. Good morning.
Okay. For me, I think it is things I observed during the design. So you said we should get um how will I call it? What will I call it? Okay, we should screenshot the place where we got our inspiration from
Oh
and
yes.
use. So when I was looking at the place where I got my inspiration from, I found out some certain things. Disparity in the measurements you gave to us. You said
Okay.
um, you said 16 should be the minimum when it comes to tests. But I found out that most of the tests they used there were below 16 pixel. Is it
Okay.
pixel or PT? Yeah.
Pixels.
Then
I don't know. Whatever.
okay.
Okay.
Now also the spacing, the line spacing between objects. I also found out that is larger than what. So I was kind of confused, but I finally used what I saw. Since I'm using they are my inspiration, I used the spacing on the margin then, but the spacing on the this thing, what is it called, between text or objects, I had to use what I saw from.
Okay. Okay. So let me quickly respond to that. So the thing about finding inspiration is that you don't necessarily need to. It's not every single element or whatever you see on that design that you copy. So inspiration could be you seeing a certain button. You like the way you like something specific about the button. Maybe the way they implemented their shadow or the background, something, anything. If that is an inspiration, then you copy it. Or maybe it's the background, or maybe it's the color scheme. You love the color scheme, so you just implement it. So inspiration doesn't necessarily mean copying things as minute as the spacing, or like you don't even need to copy the typography. It may also be the typography that you liked about it, so you can actually use it. So that's the idea behind inspiration, not necessarily every single thing. Okay, I think I've answered that. Okay. Okay, so someone else? Any other question? Okay, I think there's no other question. So let's quickly get to today's stuff. Okay. So where did we stop yesterday? Does anyone remember what we did yesterday? Let me start with that. What did we do yesterday?
We stopped at Myro. You were about explaining more on Myro.
Okay. Then what else did we do yesterday?
We created a sign-up
Okay, you
page.
guys' attendance has been shared, so just go on and do what you need to do. Okay, we created what? I'm trying to listen to you, ma'am. Blessing, right?
A sign-up page.
Okay, a sign-up page. Okay, cool. Somebody else. I can see 78 people in class, and I have only been hearing like maybe 5 or 6 the same people. Even yesterday, should I start calling out some people's names before they talk? Because I can see all of you guys' name. Let me start safe. Adedosu Adedeji. I have Adedoyin Sule Oluwakemi. I know all the people that have been speaking in class, so I know the people that have not been speaking.
I spoke. Good morning, ma. I spoke yesterday.
Yesterday,
I asked you a question.
Yesterday, I asked.
All right, ma. You taught us about how to use. I mean, the question I asked yesterday was how to pick a color from a logo into our work. So yeah. So and we learned so many other things. Thank you, ma.
All right. What about Adedoyin Sule Oluwakemi? I've called somebody else's name. Then there is Adeola Adelakun. Sorry, my Yoruba is not good. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, you guys should pick up. Yes, hi.
Sorry, excuse me, ma. Before you go ahead, please, if you don't know, the attendance has been posted.
Yeah, I already announced that to them. Thank you. Okay, so
all right.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hi, morning.
Okay, so yesterday's class was majorly about how to create a sign-up page for your app or whatever it is you want to design. It was majorly on public app or something. How to position your elements. Yes, the right dimensions to use and all.
Okay. If I find out that. We have Adeola Adela. Okay, we already know. Oh yeah. Start speaking. I'm seeing you're muting yourself already.
Yes, good morning, ma.
Hi, morning.
Yesterday you put us through how to do a sign up page, login page on Figma. For those of us, I also wasn't really good with Figma, but then when you started doing it, it was eye-opening actually. So now I can say I can actually do something. Like I can replicate what you did on Figma. And also before then, you put us through. You showed us some things on UI UX, the UX processes, and also there was both about letting us in on what UI UX is on, and also helping us see how we can actually do some stuff on Figma. And thank you for that.
All right. Okay, somebody posted, Peter, I think, saying that he missed yesterday's class. He would really love a recap though. That one will be tough. That one will be very, very tough, because yesterday's class was actually content for Monday. It's supposed to be stuff you guys need to cover on Monday. Then today's class is partially what you should cover on Tuesday. So it's kind of a catch-up series. So I think you would still get the point. If you have questions, then you can ask teacher. All right. Okay, does someone else? Okay, no problem, Peter. Your background is noise, it's fine. Okay, does somebody else have something to say before we go ahead? Or let me just scroll down and pick somebody at random again. Ojo Adebayo. Who else? Let me look for another name that I've not seen speak. Obuka Ebuka. Mohammed Bashir. You guys are plenty. Mercy Makagme. I'm sorry if I'm slaying your name.
It's Mercy Makani. Good morning.
Okay, the G is silent.
Yes.
Oh, Makani. Okay, all right.
Not Makani. Makani. Let's leave it at that.
There is a course. Please, let's leave it. All right. Yeah, so tell us something now. I've not heard your voice.
Okay, so yesterday I learned something on Figma, or something you taught us, how to create margins or the right pixels for margins, both left and right, and the right pixels for title between titles and text box, and yes, then one peculiar thing I learned, spacing, yes. And there was something I liked yesterday, something I learned and I was grateful for, as in the changing of the background of the phone. Yes, I didn't know how to do that initially.
Okay, that's good.
Changing the color of the background, yes, of the phone. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Thank you very much. Okay, let one more person speak. Someone said, please, ma'am, please, ma'am, Grace, please just call me Grace. What's all these complicated things now? Please, ma'am, Grace, I'll humbly plead that you forge ahead if possible. We'll be able to cover today's topic since we are behind. Okay. All right. We'll get to that. It's also important for me to know that people are getting stuff because I'm a little bit rushing. So I want to be sure that you guys are catching the knowledge. So I'd still like one more person to say something. Anybody else that has not spoken yet? See, I'll call your name if you don't talk.
Okay.
Who's trying to speak? I should call them. Okay. Wura.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, we are hearing you. John, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't join the class early enough for the UI/UX presentation, but I joined. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I joined for the Figma signing page you did. So I was very good for that. I learned a lot, and when I was doing the assignment, I came through. I had some challenges. So
okay.
It is something about changing the font of the page to the background color of a logo. Now, can someone change the background of the logo to another color?
Why would you want to change the background of a logo? It's not the logo.
Okay, so I was trying to do put an icon of a mail inside the email text field. Are you with me? So I was like, I know that I want to change the background of that text field. I would like to gel with the background of the mail.
You wanted to put the an email like Gmail, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the thing is, you can't actually change background of a logo. An image is already an image. You can't change the background, except if you want to edit the logo through maybe Photoshop or whatever, and then bring it back.
Okay.
So you can't actually do that. What you should do is you find an image like a Gmail icon or whatever that doesn't have background, and there are so many on flaticons.com. So check out flaticon.com.
Okay,
you should see a lot of it. All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so that's it for questions right now. Someone said something in the group that I want to actually comment. I mean, on the chat, I want to comment on. Asao Ludamlola. It sounds like a harmless comment, but I want to say this. He said, I called them because my classmates sabi, but them shy. So it's a shy thing I want to talk about. Let me give you guys a small story. Let me do small inspirational session for 2 minutes. I've been in tech for about 10 years. I got into tech when I finished secondary school. And I was pretty young, like I'm still a young child right now. So you can just imagine if you want to backdate my age, I'm still really young. So how I was able to get ahead of both my classmates in a few lessons that I went for and even in jobs, how I was able to get projects as a woman, in short, as a young girl, let me not say woman, as a young girl, I was able to get projects and I was able to get ahead, even in companies I've worked at and projects and so many places, is just by speaking up. If you do not speak up, you will not be noticed. Who will blow your trumpet for you? This question I always ask. Nobody will do it for you. So what I'm trying to say is that you're doing yourself a huge disservice. I don't know if I said this yesterday, but you're doing yourself a huge disservice if you're mute in class. You're not doing anybody any favor. That nobody noticed you is a problem for you, in case you don't know. It's actually a problem. In short, I have a mantra that there's no way I'm going to walk this whole earth. I will not come and walk this earth and nobody will notice that I was here. That is that's my mantra for life. I'll pass this earth, that when I go, they will know that somebody passed. So you're not doing yourself any favor if you are being quiet. Humility does not move anybody anywhere. See, you should be humble in character, but not humble when it comes to your potentials, when it comes to bringing forth what you can do or what you don't know, asking questions. That's not humility. It's not humility, I'm telling you. It's either you're just faking humility or you lack self-esteem. I hope I've not struck someone's nerve right now. I'm sorry, but it's for your good I'm saying this. You need to speak up so that you can learn, so that you can be ahead. You don't know who is listening. You don't even know. Among you guys, students, there are so many of you guys that are even like doing great things already, and you just want to learn about design. So you don't know if somebody is saying if somebody is active in class, is showing some level of participation and all that in class. Somebody else, maybe a student or a trainer, even maybe me, Seth, I can be like, okay, this person is very participative. I like this person. I'll check this person out later. I would like to do whatever it is that I like to do with the person later on. So that is what I'm trying. I'm trying to plead with you guys that are silent. Don't wait for your name to be called out before you speak. When they say somebody should present something, try to be the first person to present, because you don't know who is watching. I could even be training you guys now and somebody will be beside me like, oh wow, that person is doing well. I like that person. I'd like to know. That's how this world is. These classes are being recorded. You don't know where it's going to be played. So I think I've made my point. Let me just leave it there. All right. Okay. Let me start. Let me quickly, so what I want to do right now is to quickly rush you guys through the whole design process. I know we did a little bit of that yesterday, but I want to focus more on the UX research part and analysis. That's what I want to focus more on, because it seems the other parts are kind of straightforward-ish. Okay, and then there's been a lot of focus on the other parts. So let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, I believe you can see this. What's going on? Hold on, please. Let me restart this. Okay. Present. Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Okay, so, okay, great.
Yes,
so we looked at this yesterday: user research, analysis, user personas and flow. Then number 4 being sketching, wireframes, and prototype, which is like the parts that a lot of people focus on as designers. Then number 5 is testing. So we looked at this. We kind of looked through this very quickly yesterday, and also we looked through this. Okay, let me just go through this for a second. People that were not around yesterday. Okay, so user research is basically you trying to understand the problem you're trying to solve. It helps you to identify pain points and challenges, and also for you to either validate or invalidate your assumptions. For instance, if you assume that we're working on a feedback app, so if you assume that everybody likes to give feedback, but then it's not, it's just an assumption. So in that case, you need to go and find out if it is true that people like making feedback and giving feedbacks. I am sorry for the noise in the background. Like I apologized yesterday. They're still doing some work in my house, so they're just making noise. Okay. Then also, user research helps you to keep your users in mind while you're designing. So these are things about user research that are important. Then we have different types of user research. I think I'll play a video next to tell you guys. Did I play this video yesterday? Just remind me.
No.
Okay. 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 So I'll mute myself now.
Hi, I'm Karina, head of the student team here at Career Foundry. Today I'm going to tell you all about UX research methods. UX research is the process of gathering insights about your users in order to make smart design decisions. It ensures a user-centric approach and is key to defining the right problem statement and coming up with effective solutions. With the right research methods, you'll learn about your users' needs, goals, and pain points. You'll validate and invalidate your own assumptions and continuously test the usability of your design. In this video, I'll explain the different types of UX research. I'll then introduce some of the most popular research techniques used by UX designers. To finish off, I'll share some tips on how to choose the right research method. By the end of this video, you'll be ready to identify the most effective user research methods for your next design project. First up, let's take a look at the different types of UX research. When choosing your research methods, it's important to consider the kinds of outcome that each can deliver. The data gathered throughout the research process may be quantitative or qualitative and attitudinal or behavioral. So what's the difference between quantitative and qualitative research? In simple terms, quantitative data is basically anything measurable. How many users visited a certain page on your website? What percentage of visitors made a purchase? Quant methods, as they're sometimes called in the industry, help you to put a number on the usability of your product. They also allow you to compare different designs and determine if one version performs significantly better than the other. Qualitative research, on the other hand, focuses on the reasons or motivations behind these actions. Why did the user click? Why didn't they purchase? You can think of quantitative data as fixed, while qualitative data is more descriptive and open-ended. A further distinction to make is between how qualitative and quantitative studies go about collecting data. Studies that are qualitative in nature are based on direct observation. For example, you'll gather data about the user's behaviors or attitudes by observing them directly in action. Quantitative studies gather this data indirectly through an online survey, for example. We'll take a look at some common qualitative and quantitative research methods later on. For now, let's consider that second dimension, attitudinal versus behavioral. When conducting user research, you'll also make a distinction between attitudinal and behavioral research. In other words, distinguishing between what people say and what they do. Often the two are quite different. Attitudinal research gets the user to report certain information about themselves. This helps you understand people's stated beliefs, expectations, and perceptions. For example, you might conduct an interview with a user to find out their opinions on certain concepts or to discover their motivations for using a certain app. Attitudinal research is especially useful for gleaning insights that wouldn't be apparent when observing the user. Perhaps the user would like a specific feature to be added. They can tell you this, but you'd be none the wiser if you simply watch them interacting with the product in its current state. Then there's behavioral research, the holy grail of UX. Behavioral research refers to any direct observation method and seeks to understand what people do in a given situation. Direct observation is extremely valuable as it gives you an authentic sense of how people interact with your product in the real world. Methods such as A/B testing and eye tracking can show you exactly which actions the user takes when presented with a certain layout, for example. So, to recap, attitudinal is based on what people say, while behavioral is based on what people do. It's important to think of these research types, quantitative, qualitative, attitudinal, behavioral, as dimensions rather than hard and fast categories. Many UX research methods will not fall strictly into one category. Rather, they'll produce a mixture of both self-reported and behavioral data, for example. A great resource for visualizing this framework is Niels Corman Group's landscape of user research methods, which you can see on the screen right now. Now we know about the different types of UX research, let's introduce some specific methods. Some of the most popular research techniques used by UX designers include A/B testing, a quantitative behavioral research method used to compare two different design options. Surveys and questionnaires, an extremely flexible technique for collecting both quantitative and qualitative data. Surveys and questionnaires are attitudinal in nature as they are based on what the user says. Card sorting, a quantitative research method used for determining information architecture labels and structures. Eye tracking, another quantitative method used to collect behavioral data. Using special equipment, you'll track the user's eyes as they move around an interface. Diary studies, where users record and describe certain aspects of their daily lives that are relevant to the product you're designing. User interviews, a qualitative attitudinal technique where you'll engage with the user one-on-one, either face-to-face or via video. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are loads of UX research methods to choose from, so be sure to explore them all before deciding which one to use. In fact, with so many methods to choose from, you're probably wondering where to start. Don't worry, I've got some pointers to help you. When just starting out, you'll need to focus on understanding your users and the underlying problem. What are you trying to solve? Who are you trying to solve it for? At this early stage in the design process, your goal is to explore new directions and opportunities. Typically, designers will use a mixture of both qualitative and quantitative methods such as field studies, diary studies, surveys, and data mining. Once you've established the direction for your design, you'll move into the building or execution phase. In terms of UX research, the focus will now be on evaluating your designs and making sure that they are addressing your users' needs. At this stage, your choice of research methods will seek to optimize your designs and improve usability. Here, you'll mostly use qualitative methods such as card sorting, usability studies, and desirability studies. Once your design is finalized and you have a working product, you'll want to gauge how well it performs, either compare to a previous version of the product or compare to a competitor. To do this, you'll focus mainly on quantitative UX research methods such as usability benchmarking, surveys, and A/B testing. Throughout the product development process, new questions or areas of investigation will arise. Whenever you decide to conduct UX research, it's important to determine specific objectives and then choose the research methods that best serve these. Whichever methods you choose, it's important to be mindful about conducting both qualitative and quantitative research together. You can't skip one in favor of the other. A good mixture of both qualitative and quantitative research will help you to paint a full picture and ultimately avoid misleading conclusions. A qualitative interview, for example, will give you great insights into your user. But unless you verify these findings later on with quantitative methods, you can't be sure if your observations relate to just a single person or a larger group of people. The same goes for quantitative data. It's great to have all the data, but unless you understand the meaning behind it, you cannot use it to its full potential. So now you know all about different types of UX research. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay. I want to start hearing now. What did you learn? What do you think about the video? What did you learn? All that.
Okay. Can you hear me, ma?
Yes, I can hear you, Priscilla.
All right. For me, I feel that basically what she's trying to say is that in any method of research you want to use, you should try to be specific. You try to be like streamlined to that particular method. But in as much as you're using a particular method, it's advisable to use both quantitative and qualitative research methods together. And some of the pointers that she noted down was that you should also understand your users' underlying problems in trying to design. You should make sure that the designs address your users' needs, and also in whatever you're doing, you should make sure that you use a particular research and like go to the very end to with that particular method, and then just do your best. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Like, that was a lot of insight. Okay, so what I picked from this is that from what you said is that you picked that you shouldn't you don't focus on just one type of research. So you should do both quantitative and qualitative research, and make sure you follow through to the end. Also cross-check that your research questions match up with what you're trying to actually find out. Yes. Okay, somebody else.
Hi, good morning.
Hello, Zainab. So happy to hear your voice.
Thank you. So what I got from the video is that there are many different ways to conduct UX research. And she said that there are so much that it can seem overwhelming at first when you are starting out. But the methods that you would use will depend on the kind of product you are building and, of course, your users. So depending on the kind of product you are building, you are going to have to find out which is the best method to use to carry out your research. For example, she mentioned the I've forgotten what she called it.
Eye tracking.
Eye tracking method. So, for example, that one will be suitable for something that has to measure maybe how fast or maybe the user's journey through a particular interface.
Yes, yes. Nice. Okay, thank you very much, Zainab. Okay, so what Zainab has said is that she got that you should the type of research you use depends on the type of research method you use depends on the research you're trying to carry out, and also the kind of the users you're trying to research on, which is good. And like eye tracking, so she gave an example of what she thinks eye tracking could be used for. Okay, somebody else. Somebody else. Anybody else? I can see Amaka and Gabriel. I can see Arokoyo, Kende. Let me see what would have not been talking. Ayodele, Towolawi, Ayomide, Taylor, Arowo, Busoye. Wow. So all these people, you not be talking. Boma, you have not been talking. Busayo, Olaisomi. I'm seeing you guys. Somebody should talk and tell me what you learned from the video. Anything. If you didn't learn anything, you can also say you were not able to learn anything. Go on. Christian, you want to talk? Anybody?
Good morning, ma.
Hi, good morning.
Well, the video is all about US research. So is basically US research is being divided into two phases, which are the quantitative and the qualitative. So the quantitative is a kind of research that deals with numerical measure, like how many people click here, what percentage of users are using this app. While the qualitative research sometimes is like a research that helps understand why people are doing the things that they do.
Yes. Okay, that's good. Okay, so does someone want to tell me what they learned about attitudinal and behavioral research? Anybody, please?
Okay, for what she, according to what she said attitudinal is basically what people say, while behavioral is basically what people do. Attitudinal helps you to understand people's beliefs, motivation, and what drives them. Why behavioral is like a direct observation on how people actually act and how they behave, and yes.
Spot on. Like I can't add anything to that. That's just exactly different. So, like I said earlier on, if so before I continue talking, those people that are chit-chatting in the chats, you need to stop doing that. If someone is having internet issues, please try to figure out what's going on. So try to be here. That's what you should be doing. Try to be here, not chit-chatting. Please, thank you. Okay, so like the example I gave you guys earlier about observations, trying to carry out, say, a feedback, this project that we're working on, your feedback app. The thing is, while you're trying to carry it out, you might go to an actual restaurant and go and see what's going on without even speaking to anybody. You might just go and see how they carry out their stuff. So that on its own is it's a behavioral kind of research because of how you're carrying it out. You're carrying it out by just observing people. So meanwhile, attitudinal is more about what they actually say. So we have something in UX that we use as part of UX analysis that is called empathy map. Now, an empathy map is basically has 4 quadrants, like just like that, a quadrant. So we have 4 of it. And then basically one is about what the users say, another one is about what the users do, and the other one is about the one that is about what the users think, and then we have what the users feel. So it's 4 things. So from what I just said now, what the user says and what the user does are basically attitudinal. So what it says and what it does is more. Okay, so no, that's actually off. Okay, what it says is actually attitudinal. Yeah. Then what the person does by you observing what the person actually thinks, which is what they didn't say, but you'd imply it. And what the person feels, maybe by what they said, you imply that, oh, this is what the person feels. Then those are actually behavioral. Now, let me give you guys a practical example. I don't know if I said this yesterday about rape. Let me use a research on rape, for instance. Obviously, that's a very sensitive topic on its own, very, very sensitive. Now, your research could be maybe you're just trying to research on the frequency at which this happens, or you want to research on what causes this to happen, or maybe you want to research on how can you actually stop it, or maybe your research is all about creating a solution to the rape problem. Maybe you want to talk about it for children, for instance. Now, if your target audience, to start with from that case study I just gave now, if your target audience are, say, children, and then rape victims or survivors, if those people are your target, you would know that to begin with, you're treading on very sensitive ground, and then most likely they will not want their pictures to be taken. So observational research in that case will work, but you might not have any evidence, so to say, other than what you would have written down by yourself, because except if they give you permission to maybe video them, but don't let out the video or something like that. Because the reason why you would need more of an observational research for something like that is because you know that many times these people might actually have stuff to say, but maybe they're still afraid to say these things. So it's your job then to curate questions that will make them to speak up. Then also maybe because of their situation, they may not even want you to write down their names. They may want to be anonymous. So those are where that's how UX research is a lot psychological and has to do with some wisdom. So that's where you streamline your research methods based on exactly your target audience. So that clearly means that before you go out to carry out a research, you should have written down clearly what your research question is. Like, okay, what exactly am I trying to find out through this research? That's even before you start creating questions at all. What am I trying to find out? You write it down. Okay, what else? Who are the people I'm trying to talk to? Who are my target audience? You write it down. Where can I find these people? You write it down. So those 3 things: what, who, and where. What, who, and where. Those things are important. What am I trying to find out? Who am I trying to research on? That's your target audience. And where can I find them? That's where they are congregated. For instance, if your target audience are people, okay, for this example I just gave now about doing a research on rape, you probably would not be able to carry out something effective on, say, Instagram. Now, you going to Instagram and posting questions there, thinking that somebody responds to you, you might just be wasting your time. So it's your job to find out, okay, what group of people am I targeting? If they are children, I'm trying to target, where do I find these children? To start with, okay, is it in schools? How do I get children? You know that there are a lot of legal things that has to do with talking to children without the permission of their parents or whatsoever. Then you also have to think, okay, if I want to get permission of their parents, what about if it was the parents that was actually abusing them? So there's a lot of things that goes into UX research. There's a lot of thinking that goes into it. So let's say, let me change the target audience a bit to say they are adults, maybe guys, adult men. I'm deliberately choosing that audience because that's something that's not really paid attention to. Meanwhile, this is a side note, I actually know a few men that actually have been raped. So now this is actually obviously very, very sensitive and goes against some cultural issues. So for you to research on something like this, so maybe your solution is maybe what you're trying to solve, I mean, the problem is you're trying to find out a way for men to be able to speak up when these situations have happened, maybe when they were much younger or even as they are older or something. So if something like that is your research topic, because that's like the question, that's what you're trying to find out, then you already know who your target is. Just obviously, you're looking for men that have undergone rape situations. Then thirdly, where will you find them? That itself is a very tough question. That's basically your access to this target audience. Where will you find them? So it's not your job to be like, okay, many of these people are probably on Twitter. Many of these people are probably on social media. But do I think they want to talk to somebody on social media? Okay, how do I find these people? Should I just start with close family? Or should I start with colleagues? Or like, it's your job to now start thinking, okay, how can I find this? Let me do some, in short, sometimes research is not all about talking to people. It might be about what's it called? Doing some documents analysis. So there's a lot of material already out there. You might go online, just researching, okay, men that have been raped online. You might just go online. So if you find a lot of material on this based on quotes that are maybe in articles and all that, you can start getting these things out. Okay, so could it be like, okay, maybe when you were younger, or could it be by older people? So if this is a problem, you now like basically gather all this information. So this is the stage where you gather information. Then the next thing will now be when you get back to your home or when you have calmed down from your research. I say, okay, now let me try to analyze this data I got. So, which is the next thing we want to go into. Before we go into that, do you have any questions on what we've talked about?
Ma, I have a question.
Yes, go on.
Please, I don't really understand what she meant by A/B testing. What does it really mean?
Okay. All right. So A/B testing, I like that you're asking that question, Priscilla, because I really cannot cover a lot of things. So if there's something that's unclear to you guys, please just ask so that I can use the opportunity to talk about it. So A/B testing simply means alpha beta testing. So it means you're comparing, okay, actually it's not technically alpha beta, let me correct myself. So it's kind of is, but it's more about you testing a version A versus version B of a particular design in this case. So, I don't know if you guys have gone through a situation where you went to a particular website and then you saw something, you saw their website look a certain way. After like 5 or 10 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours, you come back and you maybe refresh the page or you look at it again and you see something else. Has anybody gone through that kind of situation? Anybody? Okay. Doesn't seem like anybody. Okay. Oh, you have, Zainab. Okay. So let me tell you what's going on at that point in time. At that point in time, what the designers or the company is doing, they are trying to test 2 versions of the same design to see how users interact. So it's a quantitative research that is being done there where you compare 2 versions of a design. So they are doing an A/B testing. That's what is called A/B testing. So how you can do it in your project is when you get to the phase where you start doing your sketches for your idea, because that's actually part of what we have to cover today, because that's your homework over the weekend. So when you get to that phase, part of what you would be doing is when you do, maybe you can do 2 versions of maybe your homepage, for instance. You talk to people like, okay, what do you think about this? Then you go to another person to show the other person the other one. So you basically be researching it. You can show the same person to both of them. So that's how you do A/B testing in this case. Also, when you get to your design phase, when you are done with your design, it's not every time that A/B testing are done. Okay, let me quickly say that. You don't do A/B testing every time. You only do A/B testing if there's a design decision you need to make. Like say, you're not sure if we should use green buttons or whether we should use blue buttons, but you want to find out the reaction of people so that you can make a decision. If more people click on the blue button or more people carry out a transaction by clicking on the blue button, then you know that more people prefer blue button to a green button, or the other way around. So those are the cases where you do an A/B testing, is when a design decision is a little bit unclear, or you want to just test 2 different versions of something, maybe 2 great designs, you want to test them against one another to see which one people actually prefer. So that's what A/B testing is. Any other question?
Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, my question is about this survey. I read something online saying that you cannot do a survey without having something on ground. Is it possible that if so before your it might come maybe at times if you haven't done anything but you have the idea but you haven't designed anything, can you do a survey based on your idea that you have that you haven't designed anything on? Because when I was just going through that paper, it's like you cannot do any research or a survey without having a design on ground. So I just want to ask, how possible is that?
Okay, so it's either that that paper or that article you read is completely false, or maybe you misunderstood what the person was trying to say. One of the two. So because you do surveys even at the idea stage. Research survey is one of the research methods. So it's research is being done even at idea phase. In short, it's mostly done when you don't even have anything yet. So I'm not sure of what that article was trying to communicate, but yes, whether you have a design or you don't have a design, you can do survey. You can do surveys before you have design, which is what we're trying to do right now, your assignments, or you could do surveys afterwards, which is like when you already have a design, you want to now see what do people think about this. So yeah, either way. Omolara Alabi, I can see your face. So tell us something. We want to hear you since we have seen your face already. You can't run away.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I was in class before. Network threw me out, so I just go back in now.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. What was the last thing you heard?
I was actually in when you played the video. That was when the network threw me out. Yes, I've been trying to get back in since, but the network has been messy, so I just go back in now.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, cool. So basically we're talking about UX research methodologies, and I may not be able to cover everything that you missed, but we'll try to make some references to it going on. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Okay, one person before we go on. Some people that were not talking earlier have now become silent. Hey, it is a something in this class. So.
Hello, madam. I think I can say something.
Oh yeah, go on.
Oh, although I was watching the video you played, but I couldn't concentrate due to the distraction. So I'm hoping you shed more light on it, man.
Okay, I'll try to make references, like I said earlier on. Okay. It seems like nobody else has something to say, so let me just go on with. We're showing you guys how to analyze your data. That's what I want to show you guys now. So after you've done all your.
Hello, ma.
Yes. Hi.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've been having network challenge. I've been trying to talk to you, but network is giving me.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm listening to you. That's stripped off again. No. Okay.
Do you need to put your question apart from the you talk about grouping the answers? Now will you put the question or you just group only answers?
Okay, so we're about to talk about how to analyze your data. So you'd get that in a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Amaka says, oh, sorry about this, Amaka. I can hear you, but when I respond, no one hears me. Yeah, we get to a point when I respond. Okay, so you know what? Why don't you just restart try to go out of the meeting and come back in and see if it gets better, Amaka. Okay. All right. Let me just go ahead to skip through this. Okay, research analysis. This is it. You guys can see my screen, I believe. Right? You guys can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, good. Okay, so research analysis is basically about you analyzing the results of your research, of your extensive research. A method that is commonly being used is called affinity mapping, and that's what I am going to be discussing with you guys. So affinity mapping is where you transcribe, after you transcribe your audios or your videos or whatever it is, maybe you did your Google survey and then on Google form, and then you share your information. So you basically answering whatever they said to questions you asked, then you just transcribe it on a sticky note, an actual sticky note in paper, or in this case, because we are not in a physical location together, so it's in my room. And then you organize the research you got, basically just lay it all out, and then you now find common themes and patterns, which is what I'll show you guys shortly. Okay, so I want you guys to watch this video. I really hope everybody is able to watch this one, because this is important.
Hi there, I'm Will.
Okay, so it's playing already. Let me just mute myself.
Specialist here at Career Foundry. Today I'm going to show you how to conduct user research analysis. This comes after you've done extensive user research, such as interviews, card sorting, questionnaires and surveys. No matter what research methods you used, the next step is to turn your raw data into valuable insights. What does the data mean? What does it tell you about the product you're designing and the people you're designing it for? How can you use the data you've gathered to inform the design process? To conduct user research analysis, you first need to organize all the data you've gathered. Then you'll start to define and categorize your data, identifying patterns and common themes. At the same time, you'll synthesize your findings, pulling out meaningful insights. Finally, you'll turn these insights into something concrete that can be shared with and understood by all key stakeholders. Now that all sounds quite complex, doesn't it? But don't worry, in this video, I'll break the whole process down step by step. By the end, you'll be ready to analyze, share, and use your research findings. Are you ready? Let's go. The very first step of the analysis process is to gather all your research data and organize it in a way that's both logical and manageable. Ideally, you want all your research artifacts in one place. If you've got audio recordings, video clips, or handwritten notes, you'll first need to transcribe them in a digital format. At the same time, think about how you'll organize your files. It can be useful to create a folder for each person you interviewed. If you do so, it's also a good idea to create a quick profile document for each user. This way, you can have the person in mind as you explore their research data. Once your digital space is organized, it's time to focus on your physical environment. Data analysis can be a complex and messy task, so you'll need a dedicated area to work in. Clear your desk, have a blank wall or whiteboard at the ready, and make sure all your research artifacts are within reach. With everything organized, you're almost ready to jump into the analysis itself. But before you do so, refer back to your research objectives. Why did you conduct user research in the first place? Did you want to develop empathy for your target users? Or did you want to find out if an existing product is meeting the user's needs? Your initial research objectives will guide your analysis, helping you pick out the information that is useful to you. Let's imagine you're designing a budgeting app for students. You want to understand who your target users are and what their motivations might be for using your app. So you've conducted several in-person interviews and online surveys. When analyzing this research, you'll be looking for anything that tells you about the user, such as demographic data, information about their lifestyle, and quotes that might reveal how they feel about the product or the topic it relates to. The project dictates the process, so bear your research objectives in mind at all times. Step 3 is all about getting hands-on with the data. During this phase of analysis, you'll comb through all your research, looking for relevant themes, patterns, and stories. Remember, you're looking for anything that can help you with your original research objective. In order to make sense of your research, a good first step is to assign codes to the data. This is especially useful for structuring qualitative data, such as that collected in user interviews. Let's take a look at this method in more detail now. Let's say you're reading through the transcript of a user interview. Every time the user says something interesting, you can highlight it and assign a corresponding code. It's important to note that the code is just a description of what's being said. It is not an interpretation. Let's demonstrate this method with a simple example. Imagine you're designing a dating app. You're interested in finding out what kinds of dating services your audience has used in the past, how often they use dating services, and how they feel about them in general. What codes might you come up with for the following interview snippet?
I'm not a fan of online dating. I have a Tinder account, but I only log in every couple of weeks. I haven't tried any other dating services. I just don't think they will work for me.
Some useful codes might be dating app, negative emotion, and time frame. Can you see how you're effectively labeling different elements of what the user has said? If you're working with a printed transcript, you can simply write the codes next to relevant text. Your codes don't need to be highly sophisticated, and it's perfectly okay to end up with lots of different codes. Once you've coded all your data, so in this case, all of your interview transcripts, what you'll have in front of you is a rather messy collection of different codes. Now you'll start to group similar codes together into broader categories or themes. While codes serve to highlight interesting information, themes require you to actively interpret the data. For example, the codes dating app, online dating, and speed dating could all be grouped under the overarching theme dating services. Bear in mind that splitting your data into themes is a highly iterative process. Be prepared to go back and forth between your data, your codes, and the emerging themes. At this stage, I recommend writing all your codes and themes onto sticky notes, which can easily be moved around. This is where your big blank wall would come in handy. Another useful technique for grouping and understanding your data is affinity mapping. First, you'll go through all your research, pulling out quotes and observations of interest, much like the coding exercise from before. You'll write each point on a separate sticky note, then you'll pick one sticky note as your starting point. Place your chosen sticky note on the blank wall or whiteboard. Next, you'll find similar notes and stick them around the first, creating a cluster of post-its that all share a particular theme. Once you feel that the cluster is complete, stick a label beneath it as a reminder of why these notes are clustered together. Repeat the process with new clusters and themes until you're sure you've exhausted all avenues. Feel free to duplicate your sticky notes if they could belong to more than one cluster. You'll end up with an entire wall or whiteboard filled with sticky notes, and, most importantly, themes that can be used to draw meaningful insights from your data. In the previous step, you spent time exploring and organizing your data. This step, step 4, is all about synthesizing your data. Synthesis can be defined as the process of creating spontaneous concepts and ideas based on facts you're analyzing. Before I show you how to synthesize your data, let's first define the difference between findings and insights. When discussing user research, these terms are often used interchangeably. However, they're not the same thing. A finding is a fact or statement that simply tells us what is happening. It doesn't tell us why, or provide us with a meaningful solution. An insight, on the other hand, describes an aspect of human behavior or user motivation. It enables us to see how we might go about solving a particular user problem. Now let's go back to our budgeting app example. One finding might be that users tend to use a mixture of different apps at the same time to track their budget. Now from this finding, you might deduce the following insight. There is currently no all-in-one solution for budgeting, so users need to rely on multiple apps. Can you see how the insight hints at the possible solution? Based on that insight, you might decide to design a one-stop shop budgeting app for your target users. Now we're clear on the difference between these two key terms, it's time to start drawing meaningful insights from your user research data. Remember the clusters and themes you came up with in step 3? You're now going to comb through them and pull out findings that can be turned into insights. Start with the themes you consider to be high priority, depending on your research objectives. So, if your goal is to find out more about your target users, you'll prioritize those themes that hold key user insights. How you organize your themes, findings, and insights is up to you, but sticky notes and a blank wall or whiteboard is a great place to start. As you synthesize each of your themes, you should start to see a range of useful insights emerging. When you're ready, create a document listing all the insights you've gleaned from your research. This is key preparation for the 5th and final step in the process. The final step in the analysis phase is to share your insights with your team and turn them into something actionable. In the previous step, you listed all your insights in one document. Now it's time to bring all key stakeholders together to discuss your insights as a group. It's important to make sure that everyone on your team understands what you've learned through conducting user research. Having shared your insights with your team, you'll then turn them into something useful. Often, your research insights will become your problem statement, the user problem that you will aim to solve. You might also turn your insights into how might we questions. This rephrases the problem, turning it into a design opportunity. Let's try this with our example insight from step 4. Insight, there is currently no all-in-one solution for budgeting, so users need to rely on multiple apps, could be rephrased as follows. How might we enable users to satisfy all their budgeting needs in one place? Now you're starting to consider your research insights in terms of a concrete user problem and, eventually, a solution. Ultimately, the insights you uncover through user research and subsequent analysis will guide the next steps in your design process, showing you what you need to focus on and why. So there you have it, the research analysis process broken down to 5 simple steps. You've now turned your research findings into meaningful insights that can be used to make smart decisions about the product you're designing. Great work. If you'd like to learn more about UX research, head on
Okay. Let's start hearing. What did you learn? What do you think? Okay, everyone. Who's trying to talk? Okay, Asaolu Damlola, yeah?
So, from the video, although my network has been doing anyhow, towards the end, I found out that it's you have to have a deduction method, which is the insight you having getting an information, having an insight and finding out what exactly your users want. And also, it's also good for the researcher to have I'm using a layman's term now, bullet points of what exactly it is you want to get by asking those questions. And along the line, you would also, apart from your own bullet points, you also get other points from those people you're asking questions from, which will be eventually useful for your research.
Okay, thank you for that. That's good. Okay. Someone else? Then.
Hello, good day, ma'am.
Hold on, sorry. Austin, hold on. Kudirat wanted to say something earlier, so go on.
Okay. Ma, from the video, I learned that before you can carry out your research, you need to first of all look through your objectives, because after organizing the data you collected, there are some information that may be used, that may be good, but they are not aligned with your objectives. So before you actually start analyzing those data, you need to also look through your objectives and know why you're actually carrying out that research. That way you can be able to remove unnecessary information, even though they are good, but they are not necessary for your research. And also, Ma, please, can you shed more light on coding? Like when you're coding your data collected, please, can you shed more light on that?
Okay, good. Okay, so that was really good information. So, okay, so before I continue, so I want to say this, that if somebody is saying something they learned from like a video, from something that I said, and I don't say anything against what the person said, then that means they are saying my mind. So swallow whatever it is somebody else is saying that I don't go against. Okay, so now for coding. Coding is, well, you don't have to do that style. So we are doing more of the affinity mapping style. But what he was trying to say is, like, if you have a lot of information, like you got a lot of information, like you guys already have after doing your research, what you do is to just give it words instead of writing it verbatim, what the person said or copying and pasting. you would use a particular word. And this is actually even helpful when you're doing affinity mapping. And it's helpful because you shouldn't write irrelevant things. Like if somebody just said, let me think about something now. I can't come up with something right now. You shouldn't write stuff that are irrelevant to, like Kudura just said. It has to be stuff that are relevant. So for you to be relevant, you need to write it in a way that will make sense to you later, and even other researchers, or even when you are giving your insights, something that to make sense on the notes, so that it doesn't become too long. You just shorten. It's basically like a summary. That's the word. Coding is more like summary of a particular point, of a particular finding. You know, you gave a difference between finding and insight. So finding is basically what you found out, just as it is. Meanwhile, insight is bringing out, is turning it around in such a way that it actually makes such, it's kind of pointing towards your solution. That's the point, like the example you gave. So I hope I've answered your question, Kudura.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
All right. Austin, go on.
Hello, ma'am. Yeah, I actually wanted to say, like you just said my mind. Basically, when he said we actually use findings and insights interchangeably, and I think that was true, but I think he actually made, what's it called? He made justice to it, whereby he was actually trying to show the difference between findings and insights. But however, I think this video was awesome. Thank you. I think I learned a whole lot.
Great. I really posted this, and I really love what I think it's a guy, so I really love what he has said. Among other things, I learned that it's better to go for insights and not just limit yourself to findings, because insights become your problem statement and eventually influence your design. Spot on. Yeah. So even though you got findings, which is exactly what they said, like for instance, you guys that did use the Google form to do a survey, even though people said stuff, that is what they said is the finding, right? What they said or how you think they feel and all that are the findings. But how do you bring out insight? How do you, like, it's basically your job as a UX designer, not just to transcribe what they said, but for you to also bring out valuable information, something that can help, something that kind of links what they said, which is their finding, to your original research question. So how does what they said link to a research question? How it links becomes your insight. Okay, I'll take one more person. Anybody else? If you have a question, you can ask as well. Okay, Eddie, go first.
Okay. Okay, I think we basically talked about everything that was said in the video, from the collection and organization of data to referring to our research objectives and exploring the data to find the relevant things, writing on sticky notes, that's the affinity mapping, identifying the insights and taking them over the findings. And then the last thing he said was to share our thoughts with our team members. That way we can collaborate and come out with something awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Sorry, before you go,
I want to say something.
Yeah, before you go ahead, both of you, both Priscilla and Blessing, I want to say that you see where it was saying about that, where you have your whiteboard and you've done a lot of research and you're trying to just gather thoughts, stuff you wrote down, stuff you heard, like trying to bring all that down to a board. But actually used to do that. I do that a lot physically, which is why I have this, I don't know, you guys must see this. I have this plain backgrounds in my house. So I stick a lot of notes and all that. So that helps to sort out thoughts when you do research. Now, what we are doing with Miro, which I'll show you guys in a bit, is to use that as your white or a blank board. So Miro is used a lot for remote teams where you cannot actually be in one physical location. Because now I need to say this, that research, UX research is not usually done by just one person in the real world. Ideally, research, UX research should be done by more than one person, multiple people, so that there's something about, what's the word in English now? They call it bias. So you have your bias as a person. Everybody has their own bias. So even though you're trying to be less biased, but somehow our mind is still going to influence what somebody said. You interpret stuff differently. So that's why there should be more than one UX researcher working on a project to even start, even going out, listening to even the same person. That's how it should be done in the real world. So it's not just you that will be doing it in a proper team. Also, even if you go out and you got your insights, or you got your findings, and then when you now come back, the analysis part of it should also not be done by one person. It's ideally it should be done by multiple people. So that's part of the great thing about Miro, the fact that most people can just like have access. You can share the link with people, and everybody is just moving stuff around. You'll be seeing people's cursors around. So go on, Priscilla, before we bless.
Okay, so one of like the things I got, like main thing I got from that video is that it said that how you organize, how you explore, how you synthesize your data is up to you, like basically up to you. But taking notes on a white blackboard is a great way to start. So in our case now, there's no white blackboard and there's no imaginary sticky notes. So we have to go ahead using like the online platform, which is the Miro. Yes.
Okay. Yes. That's good. Okay. So also let me add that when you're doing your research or your analysis, that sticky notes, in short, it can actually still be done. It can totally still be done even without Miro. It's just I'm trying to reduce the processes that you guys to go through, because what I normally do sometimes when I do this like on the actual wall or whatever is I'll just take screenshots. I'll take pictures of it and still send it across to my team. So it's either that way or Miro. Miro makes more sense anyways. So yeah, that's okay. So Blessing, go on.
Okay, I just want to add on correlating research objective and insight. You mentioned something about prioritizing your insights to be based on the research objective, because when you have insights, you will have insights that are not really, like you have insights from the most important that is related to your research objective to the least important. So prioritizing your insights from the most important ones to the least important ones. You don't just, when you're trying to arrange it, you should prioritize it. You should put more focus on the most important ones based on your research objective.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, so what we'll do now is I won't be able to take more questions or whatever right now, but if you have questions, you can note it down, you can send in chat. So what I want to do now is, I know some of you have done your research, right? Some of you have done their research, right? Nobody has done
Yes,
it.
Yes,
we have.
I
have.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but you asked us to redo it over the weekend.
No,
After you teach us.
Oh, no. Okay, so I didn't say you guys should redo it. What I said was that you have all weekend to still do it. So for those that have not done it, for them to do it. For those that didn't do it properly, should redo it. Not like every single person should redo it. That was not like the instruction. Okay, so I was just giving you guys more time so that by Monday we'll just look at everything together. Okay, but for now, what I want to do now is let's look at your research. I want one volunteer to look at your research, and then let's try to analyze your research together.
Hello, ma.
Yes.
Okay, so I did my research, and I think the method I used it doesn't matter. The method doesn't matter, ma, right?
No, it doesn't matter. What method did you use?
I used one-to-one phone interview.
Phone interview. Okay, so how did you make your notes when you did your phone interview?
I wrote down a specific number of questions, about 4 of them, actually. Then, and I did about data. I structured. Then when I wanted to submit, I now typed it out inside Microsoft Word, and
So what did you typed out their responses on your question, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Like how many lines, how many pages, like how much data did you have? I'm curious.
Not too much. But it's like a page per respondent.
A page per respondent. Okay, good. Okay, so what you did was to transcribe it verbatim, right?
No, not really, because
Not good at
before you joined, Mr. Toby was like, no, we shouldn't be exactly what he said, but we should pick salient points that we can also still say we're getting to, but not everything. It shouldn't be muffled.
Okay, good, it's fine. So, but when did you use? Sorry, hold on. Did you use try to get some direct quotes?
Yes, I did. There were some that I had no choice when I was writing it out. I had to just write verbatim what they said. You know, and from others, they didn't really. They know what they wanted to say, but how they would say it wasn't really coherent.
Okay. Who has the dog in their background? Anaka. I actually thought it was Amaka. Anaka. Oh, it's not Anaka. What's a dog that's making noise? Okay, she's the one. All right. Okay, so give me a moment. Let me hear from someone else first about their research. Then we'll get back to that. Okay, someone else.
Okay,
Hello,
ma.
good day, ma.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my own research, I did like WhatsApp conversation. Like I sent a voice note to them requiring what I actually wanted, and then they sent me back a voice note. But then I had to like compile it into like a Word document. So I had
how many people?
I talked. I got like 6 from 6 different persons.
Okay,
but
good.
then
How are you doing, Camilla? Sorry, I want to hear your own. How many people?
I spoke to 6, but I documented 4 because there was no time. When I did it, they responded. So yeah.
Okay, so you still have more time now. If you can, please, did you record the conversation or something?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so now there's still more time. So please do for the remaining 2. It's good for you to we are trying to do this. Ideally, in the real world, you probably won't interview more than 3 to 5 people. I'm not talking of surveys, talking of interview now. Probably won't interview more than 3 to 5 people, but it's good for you to practice. This is about practicing how to actually talk to people and get findings and then convert it to insights. So that's what I'm doing right now. So Priscilla, go on, I'm listening.
Okay, so I got data from like 6 persons. Then I compiled it into a Word document. So it was like about 3 pages.
Okay.
Yeah, about 3 to 3
All right.
pages.
Okay, what about yours, Tim?
Okay, what I did was the Google form, and I think I sent it out to few persons, like specifically that I actually knew that actually eat out. Like I was specific with the people I chose though. So I've actually gotten their replies, and it's still on the Google form stuff there.
Okay, would you say your questions were more qualitative or more quantitative? How would you rate your questions?
I would actually say my questions were more qualitative than being quantitative.
Okay, what exactly were you trying to find out? What was your research question?
Okay, it was we were asked to make a research on food feedback app.
Okay, so there was you guys didn't actually come up with an actual research question.
No. We were asked to create our own questions. Like they just gave us an insight, so we were asked to create our questions, then send it out.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. So when you want to go out for you can use yourself now. So this is for everyone. When you want to go out for an actual research, you need to come up with an actual what's the problem you're trying to solve. Okay, so not a research question, I mean more like a problem statement. Yes, problem statement, what I'm trying to say. So you should have a problem statement that will now inform all the questions you're trying to ask. So did anybody come up with a problem statement, or even if you didn't come up with one, I want to hear what do you think your problem statement is?
Hello, ma.
Oh, multiple people. So one person at a time. Let's start. Odige, yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay. For me, my problem question and solution was about the app.
Problem statement.
My problem statement, was about the app and also about the restaurant food and the drink. So the question I asked I used the Google form. That was what I did to about 4 different people, and they sent it back and collated all my answers. My questions were basically, okay, the app, how effective was the app? Was the app detailed enough for you? The food, how was it taste? How did the taste of the food? How is it like? Would you like us to add?
Sorry for interrupting you. Are you saying that you asked specifically about a certain restaurant?
I just created, yes. I just called it Just Kitchen, a certain restaurant, and also a app where people can just probably order on their phone to get their food, and also look at what they have on the menu of the app, and also tell me if the drinks I have there is enough. You need me to add more. Those are my questions are just in those three divisions area: the app, the food, and the drinks. That was all.
Okay, cool. So does it mean like everybody came up with fictitious restaurants?
Yeah.
Hello, ma.
No.
Hello, ma.
Yes, ma. Like me, I was able to just create my own question. For example, like I have not done the app yet, and if I were to create a food app, what would they like to see in the food app? And then I ask questions like,
hold on. Okay. I'm listening to sorry for interrupting. Go on, guys.
So I ask.
And Fatima, please mute yourself.
Hold on.
Sorry, I want Fatima to mute herself so that I can hear you clearly. Thank you. Okay, go on. I'm listening.
Okay. Mine was that I was about to create a food app for them. And then I wanted to know what they would like to see in the food app and the services. But so the questions I asked were like, do you prefer continental dishes or oriental dishes? Between restaurants, eatery and canteens and roadside food, which one do you prefer?
Okay, so let me interrupt you right here. This project is actually not to create, it's not to actually create a food app. It's actually to create a feedback giving app. It's for you to create, so I showed you guys the case
Hello, ma.
today, yes?
Hello, ma.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to chip in this, but this is me. I think when he said a food feedback app, I think what I did was make it a general make it a general statement. Yeah, I think the first questions I asked was do you eat out? I think that was after your name. I was like, do you eat out? So I actually don't want to make the question. Then I asked, which is your preferred eatery? That was one question. Then after which, I think I went to ask them like, what is it about their preferred eatery that they like? And I listed some other things, and I still gave a space for others. So I think just about 2 persons just filled in the order, and then I asked them, what do they think about having a feedback app? And I think out of the 27, I think about 25 said they actually want a feedback app. 3 of them said they don't need the feedback app.
Okay.
And I think the remaining 25 they give their own opinion on what they need. Like one of them specifically said why she needed a feedback app is in case maybe something went wrong, and then she doesn't actually want to create a scene in the environment. So possibly she needs a feedback app where she can actually send back a feedback.
Okay. Good. Thank you for that, Austin.
Oh,
so
can I say?
Hold on. Before you continue. So exactly, Fatima. So this is exactly what I want to say. It seems some of you guys actually misunderstood the project. So that is the reason why I'm going through this. So how Austin has gone about it is mostly correct. So you guys it's not actually a food app, like that's your second project. But that one we're not going to be mandating you to do a research on that, because we may not have enough time. But if you do a research and go through the whole process for that one, which is the food app itself, then that would be awesome. But the first one we are doing is something that I don't know if it exists. Actually, I don't see it in restaurants or in banks where I go to. I actually came up with actually that's actually something that's been bugging me for like a year or 2 years. So I just thought, okay, let's work on it in class. It's something I do with my with students. So why don't we do an actual feedback giving system. So right now we're doing it for restaurants. Later on, we might do it for banks if you guys feel like doing it on your own. So that's actually a case study. So, okay, GTBank has a feedback app. Somebody said GTBank has a feedback app. Well, I don't know. I would have loved to know that they have a feedback app if they actually read it and check it out, because I have a lot of feedback to give to GTBank right now. Okay. Somebody, before we continue, someone wanted to ask a question earlier, and I was going to. Okay, Oluwadamisi Oluwatobi said, please, I would like to contribute and ask a question. So please go on.
Okay, good morning. Can you hear me, ma?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good morning. I think that the food feedback app, prior to some explanations you just made and what the last person said, regarding how he carried out his own research, I was thinking, if you say we should do a feedback app, is it not meant to be a primary restaurant? Like, for instance, you say you want to give a feedback on, let's say, Mr. Biggs, for instance, now. So you'll be able to concentrate on exactly what your customers want you to improve upon. But in the case of...
So I like what you said. I don't want you to go on for too long on that, because that's exactly what I was going to talk about next after taking all these questions. And I already did that with the afternoon class. So hold the thoughts. I would address that. Okay. Thank you very much. Hold on. I'm trying to read what's in the comment section before we go ahead. For my research, this is Aro Koyo Kendi. For my research, I asked people who regularly ordered food online if they sent feedbacks back to online food vendors on the services they received and what changes they wanted about the feedback process. That's really good. I like the way you went about with your research, Kendi. That's good. Okay. So Fatima said, what is a feedback app? Is it an app solely made just for just feedback, or just a feature in their normal mobile app? Okay, that's a really good question. So there are different ways. The problem we are trying to solve is just feedback. We're trying to streamline. There's a lot of problem with restaurants, but we're trying to bring it down to just feedback. So someone else is saying, good question. I'm also wondering how they can create a whole app just to get feedbacks. Okay, so the thing is, originally, how we would probably have gone about this, there are different ways to go about this problem. See, that is the idea behind your research. I like the way you guys are already doing your research, so you can see that different people will say different things in different ways. But what we want to do is, because I'm thinking about it. It depends on you guys, actually. You could decide to do it as a feature, as a major feature into their regular mobile app. However, if you do it that way, a number of restaurants do not actually have their mobile app. So why don't we have just our own feedback app? So how we go about, I don't want to influence how you guys will do it, because right now we're just researching the problem. And now it's not the time to actually think about solutions. As in right now, it's not the time to think about solutions. So I don't want to influence whether you create another mobile app, whether it's going to be, that's not the priority in this stage. Whoa, people are really sending stuff. Okay. Before I come back to you guys that are talking, let me quickly read from the people that don't want to talk. Zainab says, I created a Google form for my own research. I didn't ask for their names because I thought it was unnecessary. I gave a brief description. That is, the app will be a platform for registered vendors and customers to give feedback on the registered vendors. Okay. My first question was whether the person was a food vendor or a food buyer. Then the second was they thought a food feedback app was necessary. The third question was what kind of feedback they would prefer, review, stars, or votes. Okay, I like how Zainab has gone about this. What I like specifically here is how she has interviewed two groups of people, as one, the vendors themselves and then the customers. So, but from what I'm seeing now, your question was mostly for the buyers. So it's a good thing to also research your vendors. So that means for your research, you should probably have two sets of questions. A question for food vendors, a question for buyers, to see if vendors even want feedback. Because if they don't want feedback and they will not act on it, is there a point to the app? So that's actually a good line of thought. Thank you for that, Zainab. Mario Uche, good morning, ma. What I actually did was I asked if they have used an online food ordering app and the usability of the app, if it was easy or stressful, and also the time frame the food got to their place, and also did they find the food fresh or delicious the same way as they have it in a restaurant, and how they'll feel if there was a feedback app to the services they offer. Good one. That's another way of carrying out your research. You could go ahead to have gone to ask them the specific questions about the restaurant and then see if they're interested in giving feedbacks going on. So that's actually a good way. You see that there's no hard and fast rule to doing research. It's basically knowing what you want to find out in the beginning and then creating questions based on that. So now the number of questions for each, whether there are 3 questions or 5 questions or 10 questions, the smaller the number of questions you ask, the better for you. Also, when you're going about surveys, I mean through online mediums, it's better for you to make your questions as closed-ended as possible. There are open-ended questions and closed-ended questions. Closed-ended questions are basically the ones that have this an option. Mercy, mute yourself, please. So there are closed-ended questions, which are the ones that have options. People just choose stuff, they can do that quickly. Meanwhile, there are also open-ended questions, which are the ones that people have to type. So it's better to keep your questions as close-ended as possible. Then maybe with a few, why did you choose that option? Something like that, so that you'll be sure that a lot of people will not find it problematic when filling your form. So I'm just saying that by the way. Also, let me see. What did I read? Yes. Have I read Maria's? Oh, yeah, I've read it. Okay. Oluwadamala says feedback app helps the restaurant know how to improve their service. Okay, answering somebody. Could you is it possible? GT Bank has one, and any feedback given by customer is real time. That is, the branch manager is notified immediately. It is possible. Okay, good. Okay, Mo says so. We are doing some kind of IMDb for restaurants. This was mean of IMDb. I'm not that educated. Austin. Hello, ma'am. I was talking with a professional and she said people are tired of giving a feedback for a feedback app to work. It should be tied to
IMDb is like a rating for movies.
Rating. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing. Okay. But it's not just about rating, it's also for the sake of user feedback so that the people can act on it. Okay, I'm trying to read what Austin is saying. Austin says, she said people are tired of giving a feedback for the app to work. It should be tied to a gift or meal for a 10 purchases with a specific code. Secondly, I asked if people use the app for purchases or made their purchases. Majority said they purchased at an eatery location. Out of the 27 people, majority said they purchased in the environment. Okay, so let me say something about the first thing Austin said. This is about incentives. So when you're carrying out your research, you should try to give incentives for people to feel, especially if you want to carry out something, either you want to carry out an interview that will take some of their time, a lot, or maybe a lot of their time, or if you want to carry out a survey and you want very many people to fill it. Like if you needed, like, say 500, 1,000 people to fill a particular form, you might need to give incentives. That is where budgeting for your research comes in. So research is not something that you just call somebody. Except if they are your friends, they probably not answer you. And even if they are your friends, probably not give you honest feedback, which is why you should try to interview as much strangers as possible instead of family and friends. But it's a good place to start. So it's good for you to give some incentive. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be like money. It doesn't have to be monetary. It could be, okay, so we are opening a restaurant. What do you guys think about? It could be like I'm teaching you guys how to do research generally, not necessarily this project. So it could be like, say you want to research, maybe a new restaurant wants to open in an environment and they want to know what are the other restaurants not doing correctly? What are they doing correctly so that we can implement it? So if that's the case, so maybe a restaurant could be like, a new restaurant could be like, okay, so all the new people, all the people that fill up our survey or that do this research with us, you get a coupon code so that you get, say, maybe 500 naira off, or 50, or maybe 20% off, or 30% off your first order, or the first week or the first day you come, you get to eat free. Something that's an incentive. So it doesn't necessarily have to be money or something. So yeah, I agree with you, Austin.
Hello, ma.
Yeah.
Okay, basically, what you said was right, but then I just want to throw in more light to what's talking with her, what she said. She said, when I spoke with her, she was like, okay, fine, the feedback app is a nice one, but you find out that a lot of people actually find it tiring to respond to feedbacks, like giving feedback. For example, Jumia has one, and you just find out like people just overlook it. But if okay, we successfully decide to create one, and then if you want people to engage on it, then it should be tied to something, and then you should have a code, possibly, so that I don't just give, so that people don't randomly just give back feedbacks, because they could actually log into the page and then they could just give any feedback they want to know. So you should have a code and all of that. So that's just it, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, that's really good. So that's already giving us some. So you see that sometimes when you carry out research, you might already start getting some ideas for how you implement your solution. So that's actually like an idea that could be worked on. So Asaolu Damlala, the thing is, like Austin did, I made my questions customer based, but didn't focus on a particular restaurant. I gave them a case scenario and was like, after you're done eating, if you were to develop a food feedback app, what are the things you expect to see in that app that will make you engage my app? The answers wowed me. Really good. That's another way of actually carrying it out. You telling them upfront, this is what I'm trying to do, and what would you expect? It's like if one, yeah, hold on, this. It's like if a new church wants to open, maybe in an environment. I have so many churches everywhere. So if you want to open a new church on the street, I think it would make sense for you to ask people in that environment what would they like to see or have in a church. I don't know. That's just a random thought. Go on.
Okay, so when that was why I said I asked only 3 to 4 questions. When I asked this particular question, they were just, in fact, they started giving me English to use, like quality of service and so on and so forth. And we're like, since you're not going to focus on one restaurant, please make a space for the names of the restaurants that you know and so on and so forth, so that when I give feedback, it will be specific to where I ate, or pick a location, so that it will be. I was just getting different answers. So.
That's good. That's good. Well done. Okay, Zainab, the last question was about colors. They'd like to see the colors they would like to see in the food feedback app. I've not analyzed the response yet, but they already look interesting. I have about 25 responses at the moment. All of my questions had either checkboxes or multiple choice. Spot on, exactly. So as open, that's the meaning of close-ended questions. So more of close-ended questions than open-ended questions, especially when you're carrying out service. Especially, I'm saying that it's mainly for service. Meanwhile, when you're doing interviews, you can actually ask open-ended questions, you can ask close-ended questions. In short, it's better for you to ask more open-ended questions for research. Okay, Olubimi Michael, I made my research through phone calls and they answered me. I gathered all their comments and summarized what they all want in a sentence per question. I don't know if I did the right thing. I just want to clear my doubts though. Okay, so the best way is to actually is to write as much of direct quotes as what they said, like write the actual findings that you got instead of just summarizing everything. So that's like the best way to do that. Okay, Oluwatobi Olawe, is it that the food feedback for a particular restaurant, or is it just going to have a space to fill the name of restaurant the customer wants to give feedback about? Okay, so I'll answer that in a bit. Oluwatobi says, Man United do that incentive type of feedback. They would say stand a chance to win a jersey via completing the survey below. Exactly. So that's an incentive. Even though they say stand a chance, they didn't say you surely get the jersey, just to stand a chance. Okay, so more is yes for multiple restaurant. Zainab said I had Google Maps reviews in mind when I was picturing what a food feedback app would look like. They use stars and written reviews. The owners can see it and other users can see it as well. So if I want to check out a new restaurant, I can just check them on Google and read their reviews. People sometimes include pictures and videos so that you can always get tangible insights. Okay, cool. That's really good. I like that you had something in mind. So in the case where you already have an idea or a solution in mind before you go for your research at the beginning, what you do is you're trying to validate your assumptions of invalidate your assumptions. So what you should be doing if you have something in mind is to be like, okay, do you actually use Google Maps review? What do you like or what don't you like about it? If there are people that use it already, what would you think this kind of solution will make sense? So those kind of questions. Okay, Fatima, but then I heard turning down anything to gift won't give honest replies. People will just do it for the gift. Now that's another very good point, Fatima. Yes, you're right. That you have to be very careful when you're giving incentives. That's why you should give less monetary incentives. You should try to play more to the humanitarian part of human beings, the emotional part of human beings, than for you to play to just physical gifts. So, for instance, if you want to carry out this particular project now, what you could do instead of giving them cash or whatever, I understand that people are tired of doing surveys and all that, but what you could say is you'd say, oh, I would really like 5 minutes of your time just to do this this short, if it's 2 minutes, if you know your questions can be answered in 2 minutes, you can say 2 minutes. I'd like 2 minutes of your time so that I can get your feedback so that we can actually improve the services that restaurants give. We realize that a lot of people, you explain what you're trying to do. Then it's not every single thing that you want to research that you need to add money or gift or whatsoever to. But if it is for a particular project that you can actually afford, you have the budget, then good. But it shouldn't be like what you put up front. It should be something more like an appreciation. Oh, thank you for your time, that kind of thing. So, yeah. Okay, I wouldn't be taking much more. Oh my gosh, I've spoken for so long. You know what now? I'm thinking of how best to go about this. I wanted to actually look at what one of your research work, but you guys have already said it, so I already get the point and everybody gets the point. So what we'll do now is I want to show you guys in Miro how to actually analyze your data, yes. How to note your findings and then also how you would get your insights. So I want to quickly do that. I'll just choose anyone. Let's choose anyone your comments. And then I'll go on with it. Let me see.
All right, Mom, I wanted to say something about Miro.
Yeah.
All right. So yesterday I was considering the Miro and then Google Forms. I know someone mentioned Google Forms yesterday, and one of the challenges you mentioned with Google Forms is trying to sort out data in different ways. But data sorting is something that Microsoft Excel does. Usually, once forms are filled on Google gives you the opportunity to export all the details of that particular form into an Excel sheet. So the sheet, you can use that Excel sheet to analyze every single data, change color of the cells, sort data in different formats. Like yesterday, one of the Google Forms I used for one of my platforms, I had to sort out people who selected particular skills over a list of 177 people, and in minutes I had all the skills sorted out. I sorted out people who fell into different dates from January to December, all of these things, and Excel spreadsheets can do these things for you directly from a Google Form. So don't you still think it's a good option for data analysis and survey?
Okay, so yes, I actually think it's really, really good. It's really good. So it's a great way of actually analyzing your data. The reason why I usually recommend Miro, either in addition or in replacement of, say, Sheets, Google Sheets, or whatever kind of sheet it is because Miro helps you to, for one, collaboration, and there is the ease of use in Miro. Now there's a kind of a steep learning curve when it comes to learning how to use Excel normally. Meanwhile, for Miro, you can easily just paste a sheet, which is similar to what you do in the real life. So it's kind of simulates the real life. So it's good that you can actually just copy your what I prefer doing is to copy whatever it is someone said directly from maybe Google Form or maybe the sheets that you said. and just paste it in Miro. Since I'm using the same laptop, so I just copy and paste and then adjust whatever I need to adjust. So yes, I think Sheets is good. It's very good. However, Miro simulates the way, the real life way that a UX designer will actually carry out this thing, which is basically a white wall or a whiteboard and sticky notes. So that's it. Okay, there's one more thing I needed to respond to a question. I almost forgot. So now the way the other class is carrying out this was the very first thing we did, even before carrying out the research, was to choose restaurants. We chose, we actually voted, we chose the first sent in 10. Is my network breaking? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I can hear you. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so the way the other class did was like, we just sent, everybody sent in with 10 restaurants. Once we sent in 10 restaurants, we then chose 5 out of the 10, and then 5 out of the 10 is what everybody was now working on. Share themselves into groups, and then you research based on per restaurant. So that's basically how the other class is doing it, and I still think we can do that. Yeah, I still think we can do that. But I don't know. Are you guys willing to do that? If not, it's not compulsory. If you're not, I can think of a way to change this. What do you guys think?
It's a nice idea, man. I was going to say, since you said UX research cannot be done by one person and stuff like that, why don't we work as a group?
Yeah.
Team effort goes a long way because everybody's having diverse ideas. But if you have a group that is focused on one thing, at one particular place or restaurant, we now bring those ideas together and know how we streamline the whole thing.
Exactly. That's my thoughts too. But I'd still like to hear from others. What do you guys think? Go on. It's a democracy. Nobody else has anything to say. Hey, go on.
Not the democracy in Nigeria.
My class is actually a democracy. I don't care about what goes on in Nigeria. Okay, so you guys, what do you think? Do you think we should just leave it how it is right now, or should we go ahead to do the our research based on restaurants? I want to know.
I think it's a good idea.
I didn't hear you, Tomiwa.
I think we should leave it that way, so we can work with more restaurants instead of choosing just 10 restaurants. I think the one we are doing is open to as much as possible restaurants. I think we should leave it that way.
Oh, okay. Someone else said I think it's a good idea. It's much more organized. Okay.
Now, for me, I think it's a good idea for us to have working with 10 restaurants or something, because at least these are 10 restaurants, so it's almost the same thing with other restaurants. So it makes it much more organized and streamlined to what we're actually doing.
Okay, so I won't force any more people to speak. The people that voted.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a nice idea in case of teamwork, because this work actually is not a one-man job. So it actually makes us to learn how to work in teams instead of working individually.
Okay, Fatima said I just want to see Miro in action. Okay, I think it's a good idea. Plus, we get to work together on future products. The idea of grouping is very fine by me. So good. Okay, good. So I think most people, it's only someone that said otherwise. So majority carries the votes. Okay. So what we'll do now is please start sending in restaurants. Okay, you know what? So that we can unify this, because this class is going to be one from Monday. We're going to have one class from Monday. So since that's the case.
Hello, Ma, can I say something?
Hold on, let me finish my thoughts, please. Okay, so since that is the case, then I don't think I remember all the restaurants that we chose, but I don't know. I'll try to remember the 5 restaurants that the other class chose, and then you guys should tell me if you're fine with the restaurants. Okay, go on, Emmanuel.
Mine is 5 or 10.
Hello, Ma.
Yeah.
The suggestion is quite encouraging, but our different location might not allow us to achieve this focus. Because I noticed that for instance, I noticed that majority of the restaurants or the eateries we have in Lagos State, they are not in majority of other states. I'm based in Benin City in Edo State, so majority of the things that might be in Lagos State might not be in Benin City or in Edo State. So how do we do this as a team?
I can't it. That's why
Thank
it's
you.
a research. We need to get different responses.
Okay. So let me see if I can quickly answer that. So there are sometimes as a UX designer, you can be working from Nigeria, and you're working with a company maybe in Canada or in the US. So the question would then be, how do you actually research on those on whatever it is you need to research? Meanwhile, you're building specifically for that audience. So it's your job to then find respondents, find people that will actually answer your questions based on wherever your research is based. So it's not actually, that's not actually a reason to not work in a group, because like you actually have to learn how to do research regardless of where the company is or whatever. It's good to find people face to face to talk to, but if it is to talk to people on the phone, you can easily find people that are in that state, or if it is to find whether it's service. So it's actually not that difficult. The point is, how do you reach these people? That should be like the issue.
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
I just want to ask, I think I have similar view with what the last speaker just said, but I think mine is in a different perspective. Like I would say, he said there are some eateries that are actually dominant in Lagos, but you don't find those same eateries maybe dominant in Rivers State where I am right now. And then the issue is like, okay, let's assume that we pick out of the restaurants we pick, let's say the majors we are in, what's it called, Lagos. And then I find myself in a team whereby these guys are actually working with a restaurant in Lagos. So how then do I send out information like who's then going to be my target audience? Because these people have actually not had an experience with that eatery. So how then do they give me a good feedback or a good response?
Okay. So again, it's not about you. Let me repeat my mantra again. You are not your user. It is your job to find out who the users are and talk to them. In short, I think it's even a good thing that they're not physically in your location. So you learn how to actually work on researching a project that you don't have physical access to. Do you know that during Corona season, well, Corona season is going already. During Corona season, during a few months ago, when it was really heightened, companies were running, UX researches were going on, but you could not go out to actually talk to anybody, but stuff was still going on. So the question is, how were these things being done? So it's not about you being knowledgeable per se about, in short, the whole idea behind research is the fact that you don't even know what's up in that place, in this case, restaurant. So you don't know what's up, but you're trying to find out what's up. Or if you know what's up, you're trying to assume, validate or invalidate your assumptions. So yeah. That's it. I think we'll still go with majority. Majority is still saying we should go ahead. Okay, so these are the 5. I just pasted it now on the chat. These are the 5 that the other class chose. We have Jumia Foods, that's mostly online anyway. You have Domino's, which is almost everywhere. We have Krispy Kreme. That's never the spelling, but well, Krispy Kreme is I think an ice cream people somewhere here in Lagos. I don't know if there are other states. We have Food Plexus, also I think an online, I don't know, an online stuff. Then we have Kilimanjaro. Yes, Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is actually a restaurant here in Lagos. Kilimanjaro. So in short, like 2 or 3 out of these on the list are actually not Lagos alone. So I think that solves the problem you guys were thinking about. Abby, does it not solve it? Nobody wants to talk again now.
So, Mami, I'm still confused.
What's confusing you now?
How can I be in Nigeria and I'm making a research of a company in Canada? That's what's.
Okay, let me give you guys an example. Let me give you guys an example of a project I worked on a couple of months back. So it was actually a US company, and I was supposed to do a research on. So the company was not a US company; it's actually a company in the Bahamas. I think I mentioned it yesterday. So the company the company provides medical assistance to tourists that come to the Bahamas for whatever, for fun and all that, for their holidays. So in that island, they realize that there are not many, there are not many, what's it called? There are not many hospitals on the island. So they always have to, people, if they have an injury during their holidays or their fun, they always have to fly them to restaurants nearby island or something. So my job was to research. So part of how I did my research was a lot of online stuff, a lot of creating surveys, because the company already had like a group of people that, my own case was slightly different. They had people that some of their, what's it called, their customers. So I just found like their customers. I just found their customers, sent some messages to them, did my research. So now in this case, it is easy for you for this our project for you to find people that are in Lagos. It could be your classmates. It could be, there's no how you not have a friend if you fall into the group that of people that are not in your state. There's no how you not have a friend that is either Lagos or Abuja or Port Harcourt or somewhere, I don't know, anywhere else. Or even if it's not Nigeria now, some of these are actually not Nigerian based. For I know that there are some students that are not in Nigeria. Like Domino's is not a Nigerian, it's not a Nigerian thing now. Jumia Food is an online thing, so you can still do your research online. So let's try to make it work. So somebody's already saying 3 are found in River State. Exactly, Jumia Food online, Kilimanjaro and Domino's. That's cool. So now let me quickly show you guys Miro, because this class is so endo. Okay, Miro. Attendance has been posted. Attendance has been posted. Okay. Let's show you Miro. I believe nobody else has a problem. So now what I want you guys to do is that it's your job to separate yourself into groups. I won't be doing that. I want the class rep to just be in charge of that. You guys should share yourself into groups. And once you have your group, I want you guys to do your research based on everything you've learned today, based on how you found out, okay, you need to have a problem statement, then you have your questions. You might still make use of some of your research work you've done already, because a lot of it is relevant. But if you've not done relevant studies, then please go ahead to redo it. Okay. Where can UX researchers post their surveys? This is the first time I'm seeing these names. There are so many people here that I'm talking. Red Wing Chino. Where can you post your survey if you want people to answer you? It depends on the research you are doing. Like I said earlier, depends on the research you're doing. If you're doing a research that has to do with, I don't know, depends really. Like this particular one you guys are doing, you can send it to friends on WhatsApp, send it to friends on Facebook or Instagram, send it to people. It is all about convincing people to fill your form. Right now, we are not even doing something that is very, very real life per se. Or in short, you can post it on LinkedIn. Oh, I'm trying to do this particular assignment. It's about playing to the emotions of people. I'm trying to do this project to build up my UX portfolio as a designer. I'd like you to quickly answer this question. You can even send it to the what's it called? What do you call? The facilitators. You can send it to people that are the organizers of this event. Send it to any of the speakers. You should say where you can enter people's mind. Send it to them. There's nobody there's nobody I know. Let me speak for myself. There's nobody I know that's not eating out of one of these 5 restaurants. There's nobody I know. Either the restaurants or even Jumia Food is online. I don't know anybody that's not eating from any one of this. So there are so many people now. Come on, guys. Let's not go that route. Okay, Miro. Let me quickly show you guys around. Share my screen. Miro. You guys can see my screen, right? Please do not screenshot. This is my company's stuff. Don't screenshot though, I'm telling you now. Okay. So once you have a Miro board, it will directly automatically, once you create the first one, it will directly to a new board. But if you already have one or you want to create another one, you have a maximum of 3 for free. 3 boards for free. So I'll just create a new board. Oh, they're telling me I've reached my limit. Okay, I'll just open any one. So basically, it's the same thing. You have a blank page. Let me just shift it. Let me delete this one and delete this one. Delete now. That's not deletion. Delete. Okay. Sorry. Let me quickly sign out of this and go to. I'm going to a private one. Login. Sign in with Google.
I've been meaning to say this since yesterday, but
What are you meaning to say?
I like the way you talk to yourself and then the way you mute some songs when you're working.
Okay. Yeah, I do that a lot. Yeah, it keeps me sane so that too many things are not going on in my head. I like to talk to myself. Okay. Let me just click on this one. Okay, yeah, so this is an empty one. This is mine. So now you have this empty board, like a whiteboard. I hope everybody knows how to create a Miro account. Does anybody not know how to? Let me hear from people that cannot. Can everybody, I don't know, can you do it or you cannot do it? I want to know.
Oh, ma'am,
I've actually not tried it, but ma, please, can you put us through the process of creating the account?
Eh? I should put you through the process of creating a Miro account.
No, like just I will just create it. Not really like where to create the account, ma, please.
Wonderful.
Ma'am, same thing applies to me. I've not done it at all. I've not.
Okay, okay. Let us try it out. I don't intend to create a new account, so I only show you halfway and you just do it. It is simple. You just click on sign up free. It is like Miro is it's one of the simplest tools I've ever seen. Simpler than Google. Sign up for free. You enter your name, your work email, you create a password, work email or whatever email, create a password. I agree, get started. That's the end though. There's nothing else to it. Or if you want to use your Google account straight, you click on Google, they will ask you, they'll tell you agree, continue. After continuing, they'll ask you which of your accounts, if you have plenty like me. If you don't have plenty, probably just direct you. Click on whichever one you want, and you're done. I don't want to create another account, so I'm not going through the process. I hope you guys get it now.
Yes, ma, thank you.
Yeah, that's how easy it is actually. So then once you create an account, if you've logged out by mistake or whatever happened, to log in is just to, I use my Google, so I'll just click on the account, and that is it. Okay, so I have 3 boards here. This was actually for the project I was talking to you guys about. I don't know, should I show you guys or not? I'm afraid of you guys screenshotters, so no, I can't show you guys. I signed the NDA. So, I'm not showing you. I don't want a company to come and sue me. I cannot be sued by Canadian company, this US company. Okay, so this is a Miro board, and yeah, this just has been empty like this. If you want to rename it, you can just call it food feedback app. Don't leave a description, carry on. If not, leave it. And that's it. Now, for you guys that are working in groups, let me see. Yes, for you guys that are working in groups, I didn't say this in the afternoon class, so well, anyway, what you do is you can just easily share and share your link. Just click on share at the top. So one person will probably just create the account. No, let's not do it that way. I want everybody to do it. Don't share, don't bother. Just do yours. You've done your research, and then you just basically come here. So you come here, here you see this one is sticky notes. You just click on sticky notes. You choose the color you want. So I want you guys to use one color per participant. So you just choose, say, all the things that your first participant said, you write it down here. So if somebody said, I don't think people like giving feedbacks, that's one point. Another point is, I want you I want you to pay me before giving any feedback for your restaurant. Restaurant, okay. So that could be something else. Somebody else said, okay, maybe the same person, not somebody else. Maybe the same person. This is all about one person. The same person said, I already use Google. What's it called, Jeff? What's that? Sorry, what's that Google thing that is for reviews? What do you call it?
Google Form.
No, not forms. The one they use right now for reviews, like restaurants and stuff. Somebody mentioned earlier, lady.
It's just Google
Maps review.
Thank you. Google Maps review. Yes, I already use Google Maps review, and it works well for me. It works well for me. So now, if I want to talk about what other participants, so probably this person will have said much more. So all of it, I like to put everything on one line so that it can make sense. Then let's want to use this color for the second participant. Let me just drag it to the middle. Okay, so second participant said, maybe this one is a little bit negative. Okay, I don't want. Okay, somebody said, somebody already said, I got this from one of you guys' feedback. So I don't like making a scene at restaurants. Maybe the same person said, so yeah, I just duplicated the Control D and I duplicated it, it jumped, and I'm just going to to edit what I have here. So maybe the same person said, I like giving feedback. And maybe the same person. See how I'm making it 1 point per sticky note. You don't join 2 different lines of thoughts in the same sticky note. So maybe the same person said, what could this person have said? You guys give me ideas. Give me ideas. I want to show you guys something. Give me ideas. I want this note to be full. I want this page to be full. I want ideas of what people could say or what people said to you guys. Quickly.
I like my food.
Okay, somebody might say, do people actually read feedbacks?
Okay. So let me say this one as maybe the third question. So let me choose a different color for this one. So this person said, do people actually, so keep it up. I want something along the same line of thought. Do people actually give feedback? Go on.
Some would say, I don't have time. If the food is good, it's good.
I don't have time. If food is good, it's good. If food is good, it's good. So you see how I'm trying, like as much of quote as possible. That's how you should do it. As much quotes as possible. Is when you cannot make a quote, maybe from your observation or whatsoever, then you cannot write your own. So go on, yeah.
Please don't stress me.
I don't mind feedbacks as long as it's anonymous.
Someone said, please don't stress me. Let me write that one first. Please don't stress me. Okay. I don't like what?
I don't mind feedbacks as long as it's anonymous.
I don't. Okay. This one to follow this person's line of thought. I don't mind. Okay. So here in this case, you may not write verbatim. You can just say likes anonymous feedback. You see how I just changed this? I don't necessarily need to write it in the first person. So, or make it up like the first. Oh yeah, go on, guys. It could be for
so
the
what if you hear something like, who feedback help?
We don't work on our feedbacks.
Well, hold on. That's the same line of thought of please don't stress me. So I may not repeat that one. Or you can still you can repeat it as much data as possible. Wait, who feedback help? Somebody said something I was trying to for you, ma. What did you say that?
Okay.
Will I be notified if there is any change?
No. Hold on. Somebody said something I was trying to pick up. I didn't write it. A guy.
They don't work on our feedback.
They don't work on our feedback. So let me write that here. They don't work on our feedback. Okay, go on.
Will I be notified if there is changes?
Will I be
go
notified?
directly to or etc.
So, I don't know now. If please, before you give me a suggestion, tell me if it's first person, second person, or third person, because I need to follow a certain. I know we are trying to just use we're just basically freestyling right now. So
Okay, ma, third person.
third
If I
person.
need to give a feedback, I can just go and meet the manager. I don't need any feedback up.
Okay, I would just meet the manager directly. Okay, go on.
Second person.
Give feedbacks about the business. Nobody will go there again.
Second person.
Yeah.
Okay, one was talking about he would respond on the food hygiene.
On the food hygiene.
Yes.
Okay.
Then he.
Hold on, let me note this. Would like to comment on food hygiene. Okay, go on.
Then he said you would like to comment on the conduct of their employees.
Okay. Like
reps and they represent.
Hold on. Comment on employee conduct. Go on.
Somebody would also like to comment on food taste.
Food taste, okay. Comment on food taste. Go on.
The second person, what would you give me for stressing me?
What is
your satisfaction?
What would you give me for stressing me?
What would you give me for stressing me?
What would you give me for stressing me? I have no issue with them.
Again, I didn't get that.
What would you give me for stressing me? I have no issue with them.
Does it follow this line?
Satisfaction.
I think it follows the.
Hello,
the
man. Number two.
one. I think it follows the first one.
Okay.
Hello,
number one.
Okay. Number one. Hold on. Let me try to correct this. So I can just quickly change the color. Yeah. Do you guys see what I just did? I just clicked on it and the color popped up. So if I didn't tell you if you are mistakenly written the content for one person, don't need to start all over. We are done.
Number two, they said food rating, that they would actually want to rate their food and their services.
They would like to do what?
They would actually like to rate their food and services.
Okay, yes. Okay, go on. Okay, so I want some more, just a little bit more. Let's do 1 more minute.
What are you going to do with feedback I give you?
What are you going to do? I didn't get that, bro. I'm not hearing you guys.
Okay, what are you going to do with the feedback I give you?
Which one should that be?
That should be number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you do with my feedback? Okay. All right.
Number two.
Let's take one more.
Number two.
Okay, we're not saying for the
Hello, number two.
Okay.
Like I tell me something. Hold on. I want to hear from this lady. For the vendor now. Okay, so if you have something for the vendor, feel free, tell me.
Okay, what if a vendor asks that will the app be like a customer service management platform?
It has like a customer service platform. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so anybody else? Go on.
Hope you won't spoil my market.
Hope you won't spoil
for the vendor.
Hope you won't spoil my market. Okay, so I'll comment afterwards. We won't spoil my market. Come again.
Will the review? I'm the only one that can see them.
Okay, with the review, what?
Will the reviews be made public? Or only
is this for the vendor?
Yes, from the vendor's perspective.
Okay, made public or only we can see. Okay, let's stop at this. Let's stop at this. Meanwhile, if you do your research properly and you ask the right questions and enough questions, you probably have way more than this. I don't expect anybody to have this number. I'm telling you now. Don't have this few sheet of paper. Okay. Now, let me make some comments on these questions first. There's something about interviews and especially interviews that you have the chance to actually talk to people in live. Please mute yourself right now. Everybody mute yourself. So the thing is, while you have your research questions originally, and then later on, please mute yourself. I want everybody to mute themselves. Somebody is really bugging me. I think that's Tohib. Yes, Tohib. Please mute yourself. Thank you. So while you may have your questions before you go out for your interview, you'd realize sometimes that while you ask a question, you might need to follow up with another question you didn't plan before. So this is where you need to be very flexible and be able to quickly think on the spot. So if you are talking to somebody and the person said, let me see this one, for instance, hope you won't spoil my market. Let me use that as an example. Let's say you're talking to a vendor and vendor say, hope you won't spoil my market. You already know that, your interview is going a little bit wrong. It's going the wrong way. So what you do is you then ask a follow-up question that, have you had a feedback situation where it spoiled your market? Then use that one to get even more insights. So some things that your participants may say may influence the next question you ask. You don't necessarily have to follow your script exactly like that. Okay. Secondly, when you realize that your participant is becoming a little bit negative and not receptive, you either try to quickly cross a line, like basically try to realign everything you're saying and your questions, maybe try to downplay your questions or stuff, or just find a respectful way to end the session. Don't be forceful. You don't need anyone to be rude to you. You don't need to be rude to anybody. Okay. Also, you need to be very respectful of people's time. Either when you're creating your service or when you are doing interviews. When you're creating your service, be very, very respectful of people's time. Don't see. There's one survey I filled like 2 months ago. It was really, really upsetting. Honestly, it was very upsetting. It was because I was trying to do it for one of my students and one of my ex-students, and I was like, okay, let me just do this, and I had to correct her afterwards. It was for a live solution. It was that was a terrible survey because I literally spent almost 30 minutes on filling this survey. It was a survey, like I was tired. So I would recommend that you guys be very respectful of people's time. Okay. When people ask questions, okay, one last thing I want to say is you need to be able to take charge of your interview process. You should not have a situation where, for instance, this one, the vendor asks you one question, then the next question, and the next question, and then you don't even get the chance to get your own question in. This is like journalism a little bit, right? You need to take charge of the process, not that the person you are interviewing will not turn to the interviewer. Okay. All right. So that's that for noting down your research. Now, the second part is you analyzing your information. This is now where, okay, before I continue, what I would have done ideally is I should have written, say, is there a need for that? I would automatically know that this is participant 1, participant 2, participant 3. If I wanted to just write their bio data, I could have said this person's name was Grace, and the person is maybe a UX designer, if that is relevant to your research, and then I'll just write it there. So I know everything in yellow. That's the person's name, if it is relevant. If you don't need to know the person's name, it's cool too. So let me see. Then this one, whosoever it is, basically you can write your bio data as the first one. Now, how do you analyze your data? What you do to analyze your data is what I like to do for me is I create something I call frame. So Miro also has frames where I can just frame everything that is inside here. See, I just put the frame over it and everything automatically stays inside the frame. So now if I move my frame around, everything is moving. It's just that simple. Like there's nothing to it. You go to frame, you draw it over it, and it automatically groups everything you're doing. So what I like to do is that I will directly call this one findings, which means this is exactly what I heard. Then I duplicate it. I click on the name up here, Control D, and duplicate it by the side. It calls it copy of findings, and I'll call this one Teams, maybe Teams. So here is now where I would try to rearrange everything. Let me put this one aside for now. So now let me see, what are the common ones? Let's see. So here, would like to comment on food hygiene. This makes sense. Would like to comment on employees' conduct, comment on food taste. Let me just shift all these ones away first. I'm trying to make space on that side of mine. Let me shift all this aside. Okay. Then likes to rate on food and services. So what I've done here is to just group this together. So as I've grouped this together now, if you did your research properly and you asked the same questions to everybody and you were respectful of their time and everything, you will definitely get feedback from other people. So now I'm not finding anything in purple that fits what this is. So if I found, I would have just dropped them all together in this one group. So it will not have been only one color here. So what I like to do is to now go to sticky notes and choose a particular color that I've not used before for all my titles. Let me use this orange. I will now say, I can call this one, okay, how, or maybe, I don't know. Someone should give me a suggestion. What do you think is the common name for all this? Let me not do everything by myself. Tell me, what do you guys think? Because you'll be doing your assignment by yourself, so contribute.
I think food and service rating.
Okay, food service rating. Okay. Good. Food service rating. So now let me see. Let me see something about. Let me see what else. If you guys find a common thing, show it to me so that we can quickly do this together. Our class is about to be over in 9 minutes time. They say I should end it today by 11:50. So please show me, help me out. What do you find any common thing? Just arranging this.
Ma, who feedback help and don't stress me. Please come on, like
okay,
they fall in the same category.
Okay, who feedback stress me? Then even why would you give me? What would you give me for checking me out? One. What else?
Then do people actually give feedback and they don't work on our feedback?
Okay, which one is that? Where is that? Where is that? Do people actually give feedback and then what?
They don't work on our feedback.
Which one is that one? No, I can't see it though. Okay, this
it's
one.
on purple.
Yes, thank you.
Red also.
Yes, okay, good. Good. Okay, so
then I would just meet the manager also falls in that category too.
Okay, so let me quickly say this. You don't need to have your teams immediately first. You can do all your groupings first, like what we are doing right now. You do all your groupings, and afterwards you can now come back and say, okay, what do I title each of these groups? So that's even the best way. You shouldn't like this. This is not really the right way. So now is the right way. Okay, go on. What did you say? I didn't get that. Manager.
I would just meet the manager directly.
Okay. Where should that one stay? Together with it.
Actually, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. If you think so. Okay. So someone else, go on, guys. I don't like making a scene. I don't understand.
If food is good, we should deal with food feedback.
Who feedback? Yeah. Where's that one?
Down.
Okay, down here. Okay. Exactly. Okay, good. Then what would you do with my feedback? And I think maybe where's down with my reviews? Okay, so this one could be together in the sense that we are like, what's the end game of the whole feedback? So that could be that.
Prepare anonymous feedback.
I prepare anonymous. Where did that one stay?
Maybe with the reviews,
with what? This one?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I agree with that, but if you think so, okay. Go on.
So will the app be like a customer service platform
Yeah.
I think it should go up to what would you do with my feedback?
Oh, good. Okay, if you think so. All right, what else? If anybody disagrees, you can quickly correct it though, so that we'll go on quickly. This one, I don't think people give feedback. Okay, so yeah.
I don't think people giving feedback should be in the category of who feedback help or be don't stress me.
Okay. All right. So now, when you finish now, you may find a situation where you don't know where to put stuff, some things. So it's not a bad thing not to know where to put stuff. Just leave them stand alone, as you can say orders or something. So I'm not saying that's the case in this sense, but I'm trying to rush. So if you have some more time, try to find similar things. Then your job is now to say, okay, I'll make a common thing here. Let me drag this a bit down so that it's inside my frame. Okay, so this is inside the frame now. So I'll now say, okay, what title should I call this? I don't want to think about it right now, but it's your job. So title 2. So basically, this is what I'm expecting from you guys. All the things that are in the same category, just put them together. So like that, like that. So then you have title 4 or theme. I should not call them theme. 4. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you could just call this on orders if you have stuff that don't really flow anywhere. So that's how to analyze your data. You see how visually it's so visual, like how it looks appealing itself to myself. Okay, unlike sheets, to answer Young's question earlier. So it's actually easier for you to, I can easily share this with somebody else. I could just click on this, right click, and just export it as an image and send it to somebody. I don't want to do it. Okay, you can easily export it. You can even export it to CSV Excel. So Miro is really good. And so that's it for analyzing your data. Any questions now while we round up this class?
Hello, Ma. Is Miro an offline app? Software, rather.
I don't think so. Sorry, I'm stretching. Very tired. No, I don't think it's an offline app. I've not used offline before. Okay, next question.
Excuse me, ma'am. I have a question. Okay. All right, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, sure, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm trying I need clarification as regards this feedback app, right? What we ask these people that actually give us the feedback, is it like what they want to see on this feedback app, or what if they need a feedback app or something? As in, what do we ask?
You know what? Okay, so this is how you do it. I'm not going to answer that question directly because it depends on what you're trying to find out. So you guys are working in groups, so you can just say, okay, this person should research on what would you like to see in a feedback app. Somebody else can research on, do we even want a feedback app? Somebody else can research. So you guys can break it up between yourselves and research on different things so that you can have as much data as you would need for the project. Because like I said, on Monday, everybody will literally just like coming together to look at our research together, and then we'll use that to come up with possible solution. And then that same Monday, we are going to do sketching. We're going to literally start sketching our ideas on paper. People are going to sketch their ideas on paper based on the feedback, based on us looking at everything you said. They will start coming up with possible ideas, and we'll start sketching on Monday. So now, I don't want you guys to lose. Let me quickly say this. I don't want you guys to lose your information, anything that, all your data and all this. If you got videos, transcripts, or whatever it is, keep them. This is you forming your very first UX portfolio, like actual portfolio. This is what a UX portfolio, a UX design job. This is what they're looking for in a UX design job, not just your, not just how it looks like in the end. It is the whole process for companies that are actually looking for UX designers, not just UI designers. They want to see how do you actually think through the problem solving phase and everything. How do you implement design thinking? That's what they want to really know. So it's not really about what you came up doing in the end. Anybody that is creative in mind can easily come up with a UI design, but not everybody can implement a proper research to analyzing it, then sketching the idea out, coming up with solution, and then wireframing and all the rest, and then testing it. So not everybody can do that. And that's my goal for this whole class. It's not just to teach you guys UI design. Sure, that would be the easiest thing for me to do. Easiest thing would be just to go and teach you guys UI design, but I like challenges. Yeah. Okay, I'll take one more question before we wrap up this class.
Man, so the group will be a group of 10 at least, right?
Come again?
The group we're going to split into is going to be a group of 10 at least. Is that a
Well,
good number?
it's good. It's good. Anyhow you guys like it, it's fine. I just want you guys to be split into 5 groups. So it's good. And please, nobody should be saying because it is not in my location, so I cannot be in that group. Please just be in a group, participate in research. You can easily find people that are in the location, unless, like, absolutely unless it is not in the same country. That's the only time I'm going to like give that exception. Maybe you don't even have friends or people in Nigeria. So in that case, then that's cool. You can make your case to whoever is. Can make your case and basically just shift. So that's acceptable. Okay, so
Hello, I want to ask a question, please. Okay, this is me. I'm just trying to think, like, how would you feel like maybe you're actually trying to carry out a survey for a particular company without the consent of the company? Let's assume, like, okay, now I'm actually making the survey for Domino's, and then the company doesn't know. And let's assume that's
like you're not breaking any rules. You're not breaking any rules, so don't bother yourself. You're not breaking any rules by doing a research. It's your own it's your right to ask any question you feel like asking. It doesn't. You can ask any question. You can carry out surveys. You can carry out stuff. In as much as it's not like it's not like you're digging deep into company secret and stuff like that. And even if you are trying to dig into company secret, the fault won't be on your end. I was asking the question. The fault to be on the person answering the question if the person wasn't supposed to give such secrets. So you guys are free to do that. It's cool. As a matter of fact, guys, hold on, sorry. As a matter of fact, part of why we're choosing these things is because we want your project to align towards this company. It's part of getting jobs and all that. So they would see why they need you or why they need your team and stuff. There's no more time actually for questions. I'm so sorry because I want to summarize your assignment. You guys need to leave actually for the other program. So your assignment is basically to do your research, like I said before, do your analysis, note down your research, just like we saw on what's it called, on Miro just now. Do your analysis, and then based on that, I would like if you guys can even start doing your sketch if you have the chance. Start, or even if you cannot do your sketch, start coming up with a solution. Okay, so this is most likely what the app we are going to build is going to start having. These are like the features it will start having. And if you can go ahead and start doing your sketch. So you have Saturday, you have Sunday, and then we have Monday that will then meet with the assignment. So the class needs to be over now.
Ma, please, the sketch that we are doing, is it individually or is it?
Everything is individual. No more questions. So if you have any questions, I will try to make myself available for the next, I don't know, for some time, maybe till afternoon on the Telegram group, and I would I'll try to respond to questions. So it's cool. I can still respond to questions on the Telegram group. So you guys can go for your other stuff. Thank you guys for today. Enjoy your weekend. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye.
Thank you, Ma. Bye, Ma.
Bye, bye, Ma.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Myself people they come out.
And you are still here, Tomiwa.
Class don't end. Child, Jesus.
No, that means we have another class for you.
I could watch the video, sir.
So how are we going to do the grouping now? I just left. How is it?
Go private.
Hello, Tamara.
Yes.
Please, were you able to help me with today's class, that use of Miro? I wasn't really around.
Okay. Reach out to me privately on Telegram.
Hello, Tamira. I think I will need the same thing too. Hope you
Hello.
don't mind.
Yeah, but why do you think I'm the right person for this thing?
So, your name is the sweetest so far.
Hey. All right. Reach out to me, please. But although reach out to me privately, we should do something together.
All right. Thanks.
Appreciate. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.